The great hall of Nexus Prime buzzed with alien voices. 12 different species sat around the massive council table, their forms strange and terrible to human eyes. Ambassador Yuna stood at the center, her small human frame dwarfed by the towering aliens around her. "So this is what Earth sends us," hissed Supreme Chancellor Vextar. His reptilian head swayed as he spoke, forked tongue flicking out to taste the air. A single female in primitive clothing. The other council members laughed. The sound echoed strangely in the hall, some voices deep and rumbling, others high and chittering. Yuna kept her face calm, though her heart raced. She had traveled for 6 months to reach this place, crossing the galaxy in Earth's fastest ship. "Honored Chancellor," Yuna said, bowing slightly, "I come to speak for all humanity. We received your message about joining the Galactic Dominion." "Joining?" The word came from Hive Queen Ziza, her insect-like head tilting. "Little human, you misunderstand. We do not invite primitives to join us. We offer you the chance to serve." Admiral Kethros raised one of his 4 arms. The aquatic being's gills fluttered as he spoke. "Your species barely crawls between stars. Our scouts report your ships take months to travel what our vessels cross in days." "Indeed," added Coordinator Flux of the Luminar Federation. The energy being's form shifted like living light. "Your technology is ancient. You burn chemical fuel like savages warming themselves with fire." Yuna felt heat rise in her cheeks but forced herself to stay calm. "We may be young compared to your great civilizations, but we are eager to learn." This brought more laughter from the council. Chancellor Vextar's yellow eyes gleamed with amusement. "Learn, child. Your entire species would need 1,000 years to understand even our simplest machines." On a massive screen behind the council, images appeared. Yuna watched as her own ship was displayed next to the sleek vessels of the Dominion fleet. Her heart sank at the comparison. Earth's ship looked bulky and crude, its hull marked with exhaust burns and wear from the long journey. "Behold," Chancellor Vextar gestured at the screen, "your finest achievement beside our everyday transport craft. You should feel honored that we even consider you worthy of serving us." The metallic hegemony's representative, a being of living metal called Unit Prime 7, spoke in a voice like grinding gears. "Analysis complete. Human vessel relies on primitive fusion drive. Maximum velocity, 0.2 light speed. Our vessels achieve 0.95 light speed through quantum tunneling." "Pitiful," buzzed the collective's hive mind voice. "We have seen insects with more advanced flight patterns." Yuna clenched her fists but kept her voice steady. "What exactly are you offering humanity?" Chancellor Vextar leaned forward, his massive form casting a shadow over her. "Generosity beyond your comprehension, little human. We will allow your species to manage agricultural worlds under our guidance. You will grow food for your betters and live simple, peaceful lives, and if we refuse?" Yuna asked. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Every alien eye turned toward her, and Yuna felt the weight of their collective attention like a physical force. "Refuse." Admiral Kethros's gill slits flapped rapidly. "Your entire military could not match a single one of our patrol groups. What would you refuse with? The Saurian 4th Fleet alone carries enough firepower to turn your homeworld to glass," Chancellor Vextar said casually. "But we are merciful. We offer you 30 of your standard days to accept our generous terms." Yuna nodded slowly. "I will carry your message to Earth's leaders." "Good." The Chancellor dismissed her with a wave. "When you return, you will kneel properly before this council and formally surrender your species to our care." As Yuna was escorted from the hall, she heard their continued laughter behind her. The aliens began discussing how to divide humanity's labor between their various worlds, talking about humans like livestock to be managed. On her ship, Yuna activated the secure communication array. The message would take weeks to reach Earth through normal space, but it would arrive. She spoke carefully into the recorder, knowing alien sensors might intercept the transmission. "Earth Command, this is Ambassador Yuna. The Galactic Dominion has made their terms clear. They expect our complete surrender within 30 days. Their military might is impressive. However, I believe our recent technological developments may give us options they have not considered." She paused, choosing her words carefully. The aliens monitoring her communications would hear only a primitive human grasping at hope. They would not understand the real meaning behind her words. "I recommend we prepare our most advanced response. Admiral Nara will know what I mean. The package Dr. Kyung has been developing may be our only option. Far away on Earth, in a hidden base beneath the lunar surface, Admiral Nara received the transmission. Her weathered face showed no emotion as she listened to Yuna's coded message. Around her, the command center hummed with activity. "How long until the fleet is ready?" she asked Dr. Kyung, who stood at a nearby console. The scientist looked up from his quantum calculations. "All ships are operational, Admiral. Captain Huan reports the Destiny is fully prepared for deployment." Admiral Nara nodded. For 50 years, Earth had been preparing for this moment. Since the first alien signals were detected, humanity had poured every resource into a single desperate project. While the galaxy's empires had grown comfortable with their technological superiority, humans had pushed beyond the boundaries of known science. "And they suspect nothing?" Admiral Nara asked. "Nothing," Dr. Kyung smiled grimly. "They see our fusion drives and chemical rockets. They think we are children playing with fire. They cannot imagine what we have really built." Engineer Bach approached from the main display, where technical readouts showed the status of 200 hidden vessels. "All teleportation drives are synchronized, Admiral. We can deploy the entire fleet instantly to any location in the galaxy." "Excellent." Admiral Nara turned to watch the main screen, which showed the alien fleet assembling at the edge of known space. 500 ships from 12 different species, the largest military force the galaxy had ever seen. "Let them come. Let them bring their pride and their certainty. They will learn what happens when an empire grows too comfortable with its own power." On the screen, the alien fleet began its slow advance toward Earth. They moved with the confidence of predators approaching helpless prey. Their ships gleamed with advanced armor and energy shields that could deflect anything humanity was supposed to possess. Admiral Nara smiled coldly. In a few weeks, the galaxy would discover that human primitiveness had been the greatest deception in galactic history. The aliens had mocked Earth's slow ships and crude technology, never suspecting that humanity had already moved far beyond such limitations. The real war was about to begin, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming for them. Dr. Kyung checked his instruments one final time. "Phase 1 complete, Admiral. The aliens have taken the bait perfectly." "Then prepare for Phase 2, Admiral Nara commanded. "Send word to Captain Huan. It's time to show the galaxy what humans can really do." In the darkness of space, invisible and undetected, the greatest fleet in human history waited for its moment to strike. The galaxy had mocked Earth's children. Soon they would learn the price of their arrogance. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, Captain Huan walked through corridors that officially did not exist. The hidden base stretched for kilometers underground, carved from solid rock over decades of secret construction. Workers in environment suits moved equipment that would have amazed the galaxy's greatest scientists. "Status report. Commander Day?" Huan said as he entered the main hangar. His second-in-command looked up from a tactical display. "All ships are ready, Captain. The Phantom Fleet stands by for deployment." Huan nodded and looked out at the massive chamber before them. 200 vessels hung in zero gravity, held in place by magnetic fields. To alien eyes, they would have looked primitive. Bulky hulls covered in sensor arrays and communication dishes. But appearances meant nothing when dealing with technology that broke every known law of physics. Beautiful, aren't they? Dr. Kyung appeared beside them, his eyes bright with pride. 50 years of research and we finally cracked the impossible." "Explain it to me again," Commander Day said. "I still don't understand how it works," Dr. Kyung smiled. "The aliens think in 3 dimensions, Commander. They move through space by bending it, folding it, or tunneling through it, but they never considered going around it entirely." He gestured to a nearby wall display showing complex mathematical equations. "We discovered that space itself exists in higher dimensions. By rotating our ships through the 4th spatial dimension, we can exit normal space completely, then re-enter at any point we choose." "And the aliens cannot detect this?" Huan asked. "Impossible," Dr. Kyung shook his head. "Their sensors work in 3 dimensions. To them, our ships simply cease to exist, then appear somewhere else instantly. No energy signature, no gravitational disturbance, no warning at all." Engineer Bach joined them, wiping oil from her hands. "The last of the teleportation drives are online, Captain. We can move the entire fleet anywhere in the galaxy with 0 travel time." Huan turned to examine the flagship, the UHSV Destiny. The massive dreadnought stretched nearly 2 kilometers in length, its hull bristling with weapons that looked crude, but were designed for devastating effect. Unlike alien energy weapons, human ships carried kinetic cannons that fired solid projectiles at incredible speed. Why kinetic weapons? Commander Day had asked during their first briefing. Because alien shields are designed to deflect energy, Engineer Bach had explained. They expect lasers, plasma bolts, particle beams. They have never faced simple metal projectiles moving at 90% of light speed. Now, standing before the completed fleet, Juan felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. Everything depended on the aliens maintaining their arrogance. Earth's entire strategy relied on being underestimated. "Captain," a communication officer called out, "we have a transmission from the surface. The alien fleet has crossed the outer sensor grid." Juan nodded. "Display the tactical situation." The main screen showed the Sol system with hundreds of red dots moving inward. The alien fleet advanced in perfect formation, their ships gleaming with confidence. They had sent enough firepower to conquer 10 worlds like Earth. 500 ships, Commander Day whistled. Every major species in the Dominion is represented. Look at their formation, Engineer Bach pointed to the screen. They're not even trying to hide their approach. They expect total surrender. Dr. Kyung studied the alien fleet with scientific interest. Notice how they group their ships by species. Saurian vessels on the left, tidal and forces on the right, the collective's hive ships in the center. They think of this as a parade, not a battle. Perfect, Juan said grimly. Admiral Nara, do we have permission to begin Phase 2? The Admiral's voice came through the communication system. You have full authorization, Captain. Show them what human engineering can accomplish. Juan turned to his crew. All stations prepare for Operation Phantom Strike. This is not a drill. Across the hidden fleet, 200 ships powered up their impossible drives. The teleportation technology hummed with barely contained energy, ready to tear holes in reality itself. Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, a carefully planned deception was taking place. 12 ancient ships lifted off from various spaceports, their chemical rockets blazing against the sky. These vessels were genuine relics from humanity's early space program, maintained specifically for this moment. The alien fleet's sensors detected the human ships immediately. On the bridge of the Saurian flagship, Admiral Kethros watched the pathetic display with amusement. 12 ships, he reported to Chancellor Vextar. Chemical propulsion, primitive armor, no energy shields detected. As expected, the Chancellor's voice crackled through the communication system. Proceed with the subjugation. Disable their vessels, but do not destroy them. We want the humans to see their defeat clearly. The alien fleet adjusted course to intercept the human ships. Their formation spread out, confident predators surrounding helpless prey, energy weapons charged to minimum power settings, just enough to disable human engines without causing too much damage. Back in the Luna base, Captain Juan watched the aliens take the bait perfectly. The enemy fleet was exactly where Earth wanted them, spread out in overconfident pursuit formation. Their attention focused entirely on the decoy ships. All ships report ready, Commander Day announced. Teleportation drives synchronized and locked onto target coordinates. Weapon systems, Juan asked. Kinetic cannons loaded and targeted, Engineer Bach replied. Each ship has firing solutions for multiple enemy vessels. Dr. Kyung made final adjustments to his quantum calculations. Spatial coordinates confirmed. We will appear in perfect formation around the alien fleet. Juan took a deep breath. In the next few minutes, the galaxy would change forever. The great empires that had ruled for millennia would discover that their technological superiority was an illusion. Open a channel to all ships, Juan commanded. 200 captains appeared on his screen, each commanding vessels that represented the pinnacle of human achievement. Men and women who had trained for decades for this single moment. This is Captain Juan aboard the Destiny, he began. For 50 years our species has lived in hiding, letting the galaxy believe we were primitive and helpless. Today that deception ends. He paused, looking at each face on the screen. We go into battle not for conquest, but for survival. The aliens have given us two choices, slavery or death. We choose a third option. The captains nodded grimly. They understood what was at stake. Remember, Juan continued, we are not conquerors. We fight to protect our world and our freedom. Show the galaxy that humans will not kneel to anyone. Understood, sir, came the unified response. Juan turned to his bridge crew. All stations, final systems check. Teleportation drive ready, reported his navigation officer. Weapons armed and targeted, called out the tactical officer. All ships report ready for deployment, Commander Day announced on the main screen. The alien fleet drew closer to the decoy ships. In moments, they would open fire and expect immediate surrender. Instead, they would face something no empire in galactic history had ever encountered. Captain Juan raised his hand. Around him, his crew held their breath. In hidden bases throughout the solar system, 200 ships waited for his command. "Execute Phantom Strike," Juan said quietly. The words echoed through the fleet communication system. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself began to tear apart around the alien fleet. Space around the alien fleet exploded with light. One moment, the Dominion ships were closing in on 12 primitive human vessels. The next moment, 200 massive warships materialized from nothing. Admiral Kethra stared at his tactical display in shock. Warning alarms screamed across the bridge of his flagship as sensors tried to process the impossible. The human fleet had appeared instantly, surrounding his forces from every direction. "How?" he gasped, his forearms flailing at his controls. "Our sensors detected nothing." No energy buildup, no gravitational disturbance, no quantum signatures. Behind him, his communication officer's gills flapped in panic. "Admiral, the humans, they appeared inside our formation. Our outer ships are reporting contacts at point-blank range." On the bridge of the UHSV Destiny, Captain Juan smiled coldly as he watched alien ships scramble to respond to his fleet's sudden appearance. The enemy formation, so perfect moments before, dissolved into chaos as commanders tried to understand what had happened. "All ships, commence attack," Juan ordered. "Remember, precision strikes only. Disable, don't destroy." The human fleet opened fire with devastating effect. Kinetic cannons launched solid projectiles at incredible speed, punching through alien shields like they were made of paper. The aliens had designed their defenses to deflect energy weapons, never imagining that someone would use simple metal bullets moving at near-light speed. Commander Day led Squadron Alpha in a devastating assault on the Collective's hive ships. His vessels teleported directly behind the insectoid craft, unleashing volleys of kinetic rounds into their engine sections. Before the aliens could turn their weapons around, the human ships vanished and reappeared at a different angle. "Direct hits on 3 hive ships," Day reported over the communication system. "Engines disabled, no casualties detected." Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out as human tactics proved impossible to counter. The aliens tried to target the human ships, but their enemies moved in ways that violated every law of physics. Human vessels appeared, fired, and disappeared before return shots could be aimed. Engineer Bach's masterpiece, the Destiny's main weapon, demonstrated the true horror of teleportation technology. The massive kinetic cannon didn't just fire projectiles, it teleported them directly inside enemy ships. Alien hulls developed sudden holes as meter-wide sections of metal simply vanished, appearing in empty space kilometers away. "Target the Saurian flagship," Juan ordered. "Disable their command systems." The Destiny's weapon fired, and Admiral Kethros watched in terror as his ship's bridge consoles simply disappeared. Chunks of the control room vanished into nothing, leaving clean gaps in the metal. Emergency power systems failed as critical components were teleported away. On Nexus Prime, the High Council watched their mighty fleet fall apart in real time. The Great Hall buzzed with panicked voices as species representatives tried to understand what they were seeing. "Impossible," hissed Chancellor Vextar, his reptilian form trembling with rage. "Humans cannot possess such technology. Our scientists have studied physics for thousands of years." Hive Queen Zyza's compound eyes reflected the tactical display. "Analysis indicates instantaneous movement without energy expenditure. This violates fundamental laws of space-time." "Perhaps we were wrong about human capabilities," suggested the Verdant Council's representative, a plant-like being whose leaves rustled with nervousness. "Wrong?" Chancellor Vextar roared. "We have ruled this galaxy for millennia. Our technology is supreme. These primitives cannot simply—" His words died as the tactical display updated. In less than an hour, 400 of their 500 ships had been disabled. The remaining vessels were fleeing in all directions, their crews too terrified to maintain formation. Back in the Sol system, Pilot Ran led her fighter squadrons in a demonstration that broke the aliens' will completely. Her small craft teleported directly into enemy hangar bays, destroying parked ships before they could launch. When alien crews tried to seal the hangars, the human fighters simply teleported through the hull walls. "This is Squadron 7, Ran reported cheerfully. "We've cleared out the metallic hegemony's main carrier. No resistance encountered. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could appear anywhere instantly. Their tactics, their formations, their entire military doctrine assumed that enemies had to travel through space to reach their targets. Human forces ignored such limitations completely. Dr. Kyung watched the battle from Luna Base, his scientific mind fascinated by how perfectly the technology performed. "Remarkable," he told Admiral Nara. "The aliens are trying to adapt, but they can't counter what they can't understand. How are they reacting?" Admiral Nara asked. "Panic," Dr. Kyung smiled. "Their communications are full of desperate reports about ghost ships and impossible attacks. Some are calling for retreat. Others demand explanations that don't exist." On the main screen, the alien fleet continued to crumble. Human ships appeared and disappeared like phantoms, striking with surgical precision. The mighty Dominion Navy, which had conquered dozens of worlds, found itself helpless against enemies that could appear anywhere. Admiral Kethros tried desperately to rally his forces. "All ships concentrate fire on the human flagship," he ordered through damaged communications. "If we can destroy their command vessel." His words were interrupted as the UHSV Destiny simply vanished from the center of the human formation, reappearing directly above his own ship. The massive human dreadnought filled his viewports, its weapons aimed down at his bridge. "Attention, alien fleet," Captain Juan's voice came through all communication channels. "This is Captain Juan of the United Human Space Navy. You came here expecting to find primitives cowering before your might. Instead, you have discovered what happens when an empire grows too comfortable with its own superiority." The alien ships stopped firing, their crews listening in stunned silence. "For 50 years, Juan continued, you have mocked human technology. You saw our chemical rockets and fusion drives, and you assumed that was all we possessed. You never considered that we might have discovered things your ancient civilizations missed." Chancellor Vextar's voice crackled through the communication system. "This is impossible. You cannot have developed such technology. We are the masters of science in this galaxy." "You are masters of conventional science," Juan replied calmly. "But you forgot the most important rule of discovery. There are always new frontiers to explore. While you perfected existing technology, we reached beyond the boundaries of known physics." Engineer box teams had been busy during the battle, teleporting into the aliens' most secure facilities across the galaxy. "Captain," she reported, "we have successfully copied the Dominion's complete scientific database. We now possess all their technological knowledge." "And they," Juan asked, "still have no idea how our drives work?" Engineer Bach smiled. "The technology is quantum locked. Any attempt to study damaged components causes them to disperse into random particles." On Nexus Prime, the High Council sat in stunned silence as reports flooded in from across their empire. Human ships had appeared at every major world simultaneously, not to attack but to demonstrate their reach. The message was clear. Nowhere in Dominion space was beyond human reach. "We could destroy your entire civilization in minutes." Juan's voice continued across all channels. "But we are not conquerors. We did not develop this technology to rule others, but to protect ourselves from those who would rule us." Admiral Kethros looked at his shattered fleet and felt something he had never experienced before: fear of a supposedly inferior species. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. "Justice," Juan replied. "You came to our world offering slavery or death. We reject both options. The Galactic Dominion's reign of technological terror ends today." Across the galaxy, alien civilizations held their breath as they realized the balance of power had shifted forever. The primitive humans they had mocked now held the power to appear anywhere, strike anyone, and vanish without trace. The great empires that had ruled through superior technology suddenly faced beings who had transcended their understanding of the possible. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 weeks after the battle, the Galactic Dominion was falling apart. In the High Council chambers on Nexus Prime, 12 species that had ruled the galaxy together for centuries now argued like frightened children. "We must negotiate," urged the Verdant Council's representative, her leaf-like appendages trembling. "The humans could destroy us all if they chose." Chancellor Vextar slammed his clawed fist on the table. "I will not bow to primitives. There must be a way to counter their technology." "With what?" Hive Queen Ziza's compound eyes glittered with frustration. Our best scientists cannot even detect their ships before they appear. How do you fight an enemy that can strike anywhere without warning? The answer came sooner than expected. The air in the council chamber shimmered, and the UHSV Destiny materialized directly above the Capitol building. Through the transparent ceiling, the assembled aliens could see the massive human warship hovering motionless in the sky. Admiral Nara's voice echoed through the chamber from hidden speakers. Honored members of the former Galactic Dominion, I am Admiral Nara of the United Human Space Navy. I believe we need to talk. Chancellor Vextar rose to his full height, trying to project authority he no longer possessed. You dare enter our sacred halls uninvited? I go where I choose, Admiral Nara replied calmly. That is the new reality you must accept. Your technological superiority is gone. Your empire is crumbling. Your choice now is simple: adapt or perish. The massive screen at the front of the chamber activated, showing a galactic map. Red indicators marked worlds where alien governments had already collapsed, unable to maintain control without the backing of superior technology. As you can see, Admiral Nara continued, chaos spreads across your former territories. Species that you held down by force are now demanding independence. Without your technological advantage, you cannot maintain order. Coordinator Flux of the Luminar Federation flickered with agitation. What do you propose, human? That we simply surrender our ancient civilization to your barbarian rule. I propose something better, Admiral Nara said. Evolution. The screen changed to show a new image, a circular station floating in space, its design incorporating architecture from dozens of different species. This is Harmony Station, Admiral Nara explained. A neutral meeting place where all species can work together as equals. No more empire, no more domination. Instead, voluntary cooperation based on mutual benefit. General Sung's voice joined the transmission. We call it the Galactic Cooperative. Any species can join by agreeing to basic principles. No conquest, no slavery, no technological supremacy. Disputes settled by negotiation, not force, Chancellor Vextar hissed in disgust. You expect proud warrior races to abandon their heritage? The Saurians have conquered worlds for 10,000 years. And what has it gained you? Dr. Kyung's voice entered the conversation. Constant rebellion, endless war, resources wasted on oppression. Meanwhile, scientific advancement stagnated because you were comfortable with your superiority. The screen showed data comparing galactic technological progress over the past millennium. The curve was nearly flat, showing how the Dominion's satisfaction with their dominance had led to scientific stagnation. We offer something different, Dr. Kyung continued. Shared research, combined knowledge, technological advancement that benefits everyone. Already, 3 former Dominion species have contributed discoveries that advance our understanding of physics. Admiral Kethro spoke for the first time since the battle. And if we refuse this cooperation, then you face the consequences of your choices, Admiral Nara said simply. We will not force you to join us, but we will not allow you to restart the old patterns of conquest and domination. To demonstrate her point, the tactical display showed human ships positioned around every major military installation in Dominion space. The message was clear. Earth now held absolute military superiority. Engineer Bach's voice added technical details. Our analysis of your military capabilities is complete. We have studied every ship design, every weapon system, every defensive technology in your arsenal. None of it can threaten our teleportation-equipped forces. Moreover, Captain Juan's voice joined the conference. We have established rapid response protocols. Any attempt to restart aggressive expansion will be met with immediate intervention. The aliens looked at each other with growing desperation. Unit Prime 7 of the Metallic Hegemony calculated probabilities with mechanical precision. Analysis indicates resistance would result in 97% probability of total defeat. Then what choice do we have? Demanded Chancellor Vextar. You have the same choice every species faces, Admiral Nara replied. Grow or die, learn or stagnate, cooperate or be left behind. The chamber fell silent as the aliens absorbed this new reality. For millennia, they had been the teachers, the advanced ones, the species that others looked up to or feared. Now they were being lectured by primitives who had somehow leapfrogged over their entire civilization. Pilot Rand's squadron chose that moment to demonstrate human reach once again. Across the galaxy, Her fighters appeared simultaneously at the personal residences of every major Dominion leader. The ships didn't attack. They simply hovered outside windows, a gentle reminder that nowhere was beyond human reach. "We're not here to humiliate you." Admiral Nara's voice softened slightly. "We understand what it means to be proud of your achievements. But pride becomes destructive when it prevents growth." Ambassador Yuna materialized in the council chamber using personal teleportation technology. The aliens jumped back in shock as she appeared among them, no longer the humble diplomat who had begged for mercy weeks before. "I told you we were eager to learn," Yuna said with a slight smile. "We learned much from your mockery. We learned that empires built on technological superiority are fragile things." She gestured to the humans' demonstration of power surrounding them. "We also learned that true strength comes not from what you can force others to do, but from what you inspire them to achieve." The title and representative, Admiral Ketharos, found himself thinking of his own species' history. Before joining the Dominion, his people had been explorers and scientists. When had they become conquerors instead? "What guarantees do we have?" he asked quietly. "How do we know you won't simply become the new oppressors?" "Because," Dr. Kyung appeared via hologram, "our technology makes traditional empire impossible. We can appear anywhere instantly, which means we cannot hold territory in the old sense. Our power lies in movement, not occupation." Engineer Box Image joined the group. "More importantly, our technological advantage comes from thinking differently, not from hoarding resources. We gain nothing by preventing others from advancing. In fact," Admiral Nara concluded, "we benefit when other species contribute new ideas. The cooperative has already produced 3 major scientific breakthroughs through collaborative research." The screen showed examples. Tidal and biological sciences combined with human quantum physics had led to revolutionary medical treatments. Verdant agricultural knowledge merged with human efficiency techniques had solved food shortage problems on a dozen worlds. "This is our offer," Admiral Nara said formally. "Join the Galactic Cooperative as equal partners, contribute your knowledge and expertise, and help build a civilization based on cooperation rather than conquest." "Or," Chancellor Vextar asked through gritted teeth. "Or remain isolated in your home systems while the galaxy moves forward without you," Admiral Nara replied. "The choice is yours." As the human ships vanished from around the council chamber, leaving the aliens alone with their thoughts, the old order of the galaxy died forever. Some species would adapt and thrive in the new paradigm. Others would cling to old ways and fade into irrelevance. But for the first time in millennia, the galaxy faced a future where technological progress was shared rather than hoarded, where cooperation replaced conquest, and where the strongest military force in known space used its power to prevent war rather than wage it. The age of empire was over. The age of cooperation had begun. 6 months after the fall of the Galactic Dominion, Harmony Station buzzed with activity. The massive structure orbited a neutral star system, its corridors filled with beings from dozens of different worlds. Where once there had been masters and servants, now there were partners working toward common goals. Ambassador Yuna walked through the central plaza, watching Tidal and engineers work alongside human technicians on a new water purification system. Nearby, Saurian military officers shared tactical knowledge with former enemies, their ancient warrior pride now channeled into protecting the innocent rather than conquering the weak. "Amazing how quickly things can change," Dr. Kyung commented as he joined her. He carried a datapad filled with research proposals from 17 different species. "Remember when they thought we were too primitive to understand their simplest machines?" Yuna smiled. "Now they're asking us to teach them quantum dimensional theory." The universe has quite a sense of humor. In the research section of the station, Dr. Yoon worked with a mixed team of scientists on problems that would have been impossible to solve under the old system. Combining collective hive mind processing with human intuitive leaps had already led to breakthroughs in faster-than-light communication. The key insight, Dr. Yoon explained to her alien colleagues, came from realizing that consciousness itself might exist in higher dimensions. If we can project thoughts the same way we project matter, the implications were staggering. True instantaneous communication across any distance would revolutionize galactic civilization even more than teleportation technology had. Captain Huan, now Admiral of the Cooperative Defense Fleet, reviewed reports from across the galaxy. The transition hadn't been completely smooth. Some species still struggled with the concept of equality, and there had been several attempts by rogue factions to restart the old ways. Status report. Commander Day, Juan requested as his second-in-command entered the command center. 3 more incidents this week, Day replied, highlighting locations on the galactic map. Remnant Saurian forces tried to conquer an agricultural world in the Outer Rim. We responded within minutes and convinced them to reconsider. Casualties? Juan asked. None. Our rapid response policy is working perfectly. When aggressors know that overwhelming force can appear instantly, most conflicts end before they begin. This was perhaps humanity's greatest contribution to galactic peace. The mere existence of the teleportation fleet made large-scale warfare practically impossible. Any species that tried to restart the old patterns of conquest found themselves facing instant intervention. Engineer Bach entered with a smile on her face. Admiral, I have good news from the Verdant systems. Their agricultural scientists have successfully combined human hydroponic techniques with their natural growing methods. Food production is up 300%. Excellent, Juan nodded. And the metallic hegemony's industrial cooperation? Unit Prime 7 reports that shared manufacturing protocols have reduced resource waste by 40%, while increasing output. Turns out competition isn't always the most efficient economic model. In the diplomatic wing of Harmony Station, former enemies worked side by side to resolve conflicts peacefully. Admiral Kethros, once a proud conqueror, now served as mediator for aquatic species disputes. His military experience proved valuable in understanding the root causes of territorial conflicts. The key, he explained to a group of young diplomats from various species, is remembering that most conflicts arise from fear, not hatred. Address the underlying fears and the anger usually dissolves. General Sung coordinated the cooperative's rapid response teams from a command center that would have seemed like magic to the Old Dominion. Holographic displays showed real-time conditions across hundreds of worlds, with human ships ready to teleport to any crisis point instantly. Distress signal from the Centauri mining colony, reported a communication officer. Pirates are demanding tribute from the independent miners. Dispatch Squadron 12, General Sung ordered. Standard intervention protocol. Within seconds, a full squadron of human ships materialized around the pirate vessels. The criminals, faced with overwhelming force that had appeared from nowhere, quickly surrendered. The entire incident lasted less than 5 minutes. Pirates are becoming an endangered species, General Sung noted with satisfaction. Word is spreading that crime doesn't pay when the police can appear anywhere instantly. Not everyone had adapted to the new order. On the fortress world of Carthax, Chancellor Vextar plotted in exile with the remnants of the old Saurian military. His pride still burned from the humiliation of defeat at the hands of primitives. The humans cannot watch everywhere at once, he hissed to his followers. If we strike quickly enough at multiple targets simultaneously. His words were interrupted as the air shimmered, and Pilot Ran materialized in his throne room, sitting casually on his war table. Actually, we can watch everywhere at once, she said cheerfully. Did you really think we weren't monitoring the communications of every known troublemaker? Vextar reached for his weapon, but Ran was faster. A small device in her hand projected a stasis field that froze him in place. Here's the deal, she continued conversationally. You can keep plotting and planning until you're old and gray, but every scheme will fail. Or you can join the cooperative and put your military genius to good use protecting people instead of conquering them. Never, Vextar snarled. Your choice. Ran shrugged. But your followers are welcome to make their own decisions. She activated a communication device and the voices of Vextar's own officers filled the room. One by one, they announced their intention to join the cooperative's defense forces. Years of watching their former enemies prosper while they stagnated in exile had changed their perspectives. Even your own people are tired of living in the past, Ran observed. Pride is a luxury you can no longer afford. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out as the old order finally crumbled completely. Some individuals adapted and found new purpose in the cooperative. Others chose isolation and irrelevance. But the tide of history had turned decisively toward cooperation over conquest. Dr. Kyung stood in his new laboratory on Harmony Station, surrounded by equipment that represented the combined scientific knowledge of dozens of species. His current project, finding ways to share teleportation technology safely, would have been impossible under the old system. The beautiful irony, he told his mixed species research team, is that keeping the technology secret would actually make us weaker. True security comes from lifting everyone up, not holding others down. His assistant, a young luminar named Brightspark, flickered with curiosity. But doesn't sharing our advantages reduce our military superiority? Military superiority based on technological secrets is temporary, Dr. Kyung explained. Someone always finds a counter eventually. But superiority based on being the most cooperative, the most innovative, the most helpful, that's sustainable. In the months that followed, the Galactic Cooperative grew stronger as more species joined voluntarily. The Crystalline Collective contributed advanced mineral processing techniques. The Ethereal Republic shared their mastery of energy manipulation. Even some former Dominion hardliners began to see the benefits of cooperation over competition. Admiral Nara, now retired but serving as an advisor to the Cooperative Council, watched the transformation with quiet satisfaction. She stood in her quarters aboard Harmony Station, looking out at the mixture of ships from dozens of worlds working together in perfect harmony. "What are you thinking about?" Ambassador Yuna asked as she entered the room. "About how wrong we could have been," Admiral Nara replied. "We developed the teleportation technology to protect ourselves. We never imagined it would transform the entire galaxy." "Maybe that's why it worked," Yuna suggested. "We weren't trying to conquer anyone. We just wanted to survive." Admiral Nara nodded. The aliens' mistake wasn't underestimating our technology. It was underestimating our character. They assumed we would use power the same way they did. On the main view screen in the station's central plaza, Dr. Yoon announced the successful test of the first interdimensional communication system. Messages could now be sent instantly across any distance, making the galaxy feel smaller and more connected than ever before. "This is just the beginning," she told the celebrating crowd. "When species work together instead of against each other, there's no limit to what we can achieve." As the celebration continued around them, Admiral Nara and Ambassador Yuna reflected on how far they had all come. The galaxy that had once mocked Earth's children now looked to humanity for leadership in building a better future. The age of empire was truly over. The age of cooperation had begun in earnest, and with it came possibilities that no single species could have imagined alone. The universe itself seemed brighter somehow, filled with hope instead of fear, growth instead of stagnation. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. Instead, they had taught it how to conquer itself, to overcome its own limitations and reach for something greater than any empire had ever achieved. And in doing so, they had secured not just their own survival, but the survival and prosperity of countless worlds. The greatest victory was not military, but moral.